All right, shalom, shalom, shalom. All praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, which is to say in the Paleo Hebrew, Yahweh, which is the name of our Heavenly Father, meaning He is, Bahashem, meaning in the name, Yahweh Shai, meaning He is our salvation. And that is who the world ignorantly calls Jesus a so called black man, who, by the way, only came for the Israelites. All right? And the power is given over into the hand of the cruel Lord. All right? Because with this newfound power by the Supreme Court, Donald J. Trump, the 47th president, can now start letting go of thousands of federal employees or workers to reduce the cost of the government. Okay? With this newfound power, Trump will now be letting go of 1,000, or should I say thousands of federal employees. Okay? So this is the headline from US Today. It reads, with new power, Trump will move immediately to lay off federal workers. All right. This is coming. All right. If you got a federal job and you think that you got security, think again. Okay. You are at high risk of losing your job. All right. Especially if you don't want to comply to whatever procedures and protocols that they put in place. All right. So, as the headline reads, with new power, Trump will move immediately to lay off federal workers. It says President Donald Trump has seized the authority to lay off federal workers and recognize, or Salakia, reorganize the federal government in a way that critics say no president has been able to do in more than 100 years. All right. So here it is. This devil is getting ready to lay off and let go a lot of people. All right. And we know most of these federal jobs are handed over and given to what? Women. All right. Especially Eve. Okay. It says the power which the Supreme Court gave temporarily, which this devil don't need that much time. Okay. Because you Israelites are going to feel it. All right. That big, beautiful bill. See, we've been telling you. All right. There's no security here in Babylon the Great. All right. You thought it was just going to stop at deportation. No. You next, Jake, the Southern Kingdom. Y'all going to feel it next. Okay. Because with this temporary power, he's going to make his wrath be known. He's going to cut back government subsidized programs. He's going to look to downgrade federal government jobs by the thousands. And you think you're going to be out here, with a hefty mortgage or rent or what have you? No, you're going to be out on the streets, man. All right. So wrath is coming, okay? It says, the power which the Supreme Court gave temporarily in a July 8th order puts at risk thousands of federal jobs across the country at agencies that collect taxes, provide health care to veterans, and help administer retirement benefits, okay? So who do you think they're going to let go first? All right. You so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. Okay. They're going to seek to keep their people as long as they can. They're going to get rid of the first wave of Israelites. Okay. Those that work behind the desk. Those that, do trivial jobs. Okay. They're going to see to let go of them first in the federal jobs. That ones that collect taxes. So guess what? You got tax what do you call it, agencies at the DMV. All right, because what do you need people at the DMV for? All right, you got what? Health care to veterans. They can get rid of that. All right, and just do it online. And what else? Administer retirement benefits. All these things are going to be what? Downgraded or downsized till you can just do it all online. All right. You don't need to come in to the office, to a physical building. All right. They can let go of those people under the guidelines of saving more money for the government. Okay. It says labor unions say the cuts fly in the face of established law and decades of tradition. But a senior White House official told USA the layoffs are legal. You see? So guess what? Hey, we got the next round of protests getting ready to come. All right. When these jobs are being downsized or downgraded, guess what? We gonna have Eve, the so-called black woman, and those that follow her out there talking about this is unfair, injustice. Same thing what we see with the Northern Kingdom. It's coming to the Southern Kingdom. And we told you, you put your faith, your trust in this system, it's going to fail you 100 times, all right? So guess what? Mass jobs are getting ready to be terminated. It says, where we at? But a senior White House official told USA the layoffs are legal and the administration intends to immediately reduce the size of government. So at the first sign or at the first opportunity, they're going to start letting go of people, man. All right. And a lot of you people, y'all got a lot of, bills living outside your means that you ain't going to be able to pay without that government job. And just think, he may or he may not give you that, what do you call that when you get a severance package, okay? Because at one point in time, he was saying, if you want to take your severance package now, and you can take it and leave. But now, who knows whether or not you're going to get that severance package. It says, when the court did not rule on the underlying question of Trump's ability to enact widespread job cuts, the justice said they were likely to affirm that power. So it's all given over into the hands of that cruel Lord, speaking of in Isaiah the 19th chapter, right around the third or fourth verse. I believe it's the fourth verse. It says a final decision in favor of the president will continue a trend in which the executive branch increases its power in relation to Congress and the courts, making Trump and future presidents more powerful than they've been in generations. This is that cruel Lord, all right, which may be the last president of America, all right? The American Federation of Government Employees, a labor union that partners with outside groups and local governments to sue the Trump administration, said the High Court has dealt a serious blow to our democracy and put services that the American people rely on in grave jeopardy. Well, guess what? They're going to do away with those services, all right? Or at the bare minimum, put it online, okay? Where you don't have to go in person. And they could save by cutting jobs that people that you would think grease you at these services can no longer do, okay? So this is that cruel Lord. They said there hasn't been one in generations. So now Trump has all power, albeit temporarily. But hey, we're going to see how much he gets done with this temporary power, okay? So let's get a few precepts and let's take it from there. All right. All right, this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 31 and verse 1. It reads, woe to them that go down to Egypt for help and stay on horses and trust in chariots, because they are many, and in horsemen because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek Yahweh. See? So you put your faith, your trust in this system because you thought it would never let you down. And now we're seeing the very system that a lot of you people have put faith and trust in is what? Doing just that. It's letting you down, okay? From not delivering on the so-called alleged Epstein list to now getting ready to do away with thousands of federal jobs. It's only going to get worse. From deporting undocumented immigrants. I mean, you pretty much have to be blind at this point in time to not see what's getting ready to come, all right? Or at the bare minimum, you don't know what's going on. Why? Let's get that. Isaiah 55 and 6. This is why you don't know what's going on. Or should I say, this is why you won't know what's going on. This is Isaiah 55 and verse 6. It reads, seek ye Yahweh while he may be found. Call ye upon him while he is near. See, you ain't going to have this time like you have right now to get answers to your questions, because once the lights are out and you don't have a job and you don't know where to go, it's going to be too late, okay? It's going to be too late. See, you want to find Yahweh while he may be found now through his mouthpiece, the servants, the prophets, okay? They're telling you the intricacies, the ins and outs of this whole beast system, all right? They're setting it up before your very own eyes, all right? You're seeing the northern kingdom, and then you're going to get ready to see the southern kingdom, all right? Because you southern kingdom, you are at ease, okay? You thinking just because that you were born here, that entitles you everything that you're supposed to get because you went through so many years of slavery. Well, guess what? That's not going to be the case pretty soon, all right? You're going to lose your jobs. You're going to lose your quote-unquote independency, and you're going to be left out there in the dark, man, okay? All to be what? Just to be a so-called quote-unquote U.S. citizen, all right? Because even that's coming to an end, all right? With this new beast system, if you don't have the proper digital paperwork, should I say, you're not going to be looked at as a citizen, okay? This is where we're moving at, okay? One step at a time. Don't forget that they've decommissioned the penny, okay? They're going to no longer make the penny, all right? So they're cutting the proverbial fat off of all unnecessary jobs. Let them tell it, all right? But they're going to get rid of everything eventually, okay? And they're going to bring back up the new system, all right? So you are witnessing your last quote-unquote moments of freedom, all right? And we told you that this was never your rest, all right? But see, you won't find out until it's too late. Because why? Let's read it again. Isaiah 55 and 6. Seek ye Yahweh while he may be found. You thought that it would just go on and on. You thought you would be able to retire, get your 401k pension, your IRA. All that is going digital, okay? You ain't going to be able to get none of that unless you get that microchip. This is where we heading at, okay? They're starting off big. They're going to end up small. They're going to start off at the top, and it's going to affect everyone down to the, trivial work such as warehouse and factories, okay? Because why? You got Amazon, you got automation, you got robots that's taking all those jobs as well, okay? So it's going to be very difficult to be sustainable in this new world that they're putting in place, all right? That's why a lot of people are going to take that chip, that microchip, that RFID microchip, because they're not going to have anywhere else or anywhere out or any way out of this system except for if they integrate into the system, okay? So that's what they're doing. They're taking away all avenues of quote-unquote independency, and they're going to what? Require you to rely solely on them. Okay, what is that? Limitation. This is Lamentation 4 and 17. It says, "As for us, our eyes as yet fail for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us." Right. Egypt is not going to save you. All right. It's going to be your demise. All right. If you think that America, quote unquote, America, which is spiritual Egypt, will be revised through this new government, you're sadly mistaken. Okay, you're just going to keep watching, and then you're going to find out one day you don't have a job. You can't get quote unquote benefits from subsidized programs. All right, you're not going to be able to get any of that unless you take that RFID microchip. All right, this is where we're heading to. Whether you can see it or not, that's besides the point. All right, you've been warned. All right, you've been told numerous times. Seek Yahweh, turn and repent from your wicked ways, but you don't want to do it. All right, so guess what? You're going to get blindsided by this. One day you're going to come to work and they're going to tell you, we no longer need your service. We're downgrading or we're downsizing. All right, and you're going to be looking to yourself like, damn, I didn't see this coming. Right, you were blindsided. But if you would have been in the word, in these scriptures, you would have had the wherewithal to know that they're getting ready to pull the plug on this system. All right. This is the book of Micah, chapter 2, and verse 10. It reads, "Arise ye and depart." See, leave the ways of this world, man. Because why? They're not going to give you anything fruitful. It says, "For this is not your rest." See, you're not supposed to be getting complacent. Oh, I got a retirement plan. See, that's what's going to cause a lot of you jakes to flip when they take that retirement, that 401k, and they tell you you can't get it unless you take this digital device the size of a grain of rice. They're going to say, we're not withholding it from you. You just got to take this chip to get it. See, and a lot of you going to fold and crack under that pressure because you don't want to let what you think you built here in the land of our captivity go. All right, but that's going to be your very own demise. It says, "Because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction." And once you take that chip, you will be destroyed if you here in America. All right, if you here in America, when the missiles come, you will be destroyed, point blank. All right, and you've been warned. All right, so now that this cruel Lord, spoken of in Isaiah the 19th, has got all power, albeit temporarily, he's going to get busy. It says, "In the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord." He now has the power to use that big, beautiful bill with billions upon billions of dollars allocated in certain departments of the government to help fund whatever it is he wants to get done. Okay? It says, "In the Egyptians will I give over," which is you modern day Americans, "will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord. And a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord, Yahweh of hosts." So this is all the will of the Heavenly Father for you 2/3, you rebellious Israelites that don't want to get in line. You about to feel the wrath of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai through this cruel Lord, okay? You about to see everything you thought you had, it was just an illusion, all right? Outside of this truth, there's nothing that you can build on that's going to last forever. This truth is it, all right? And we've been telling you, all right? If you don't want to listen, you're going to find out the hard way, all right? This big, beautiful bill, if I'm not mistaken, goes into effect January 2026. So you got a few months, if that, okay? to see some real changes coming. All right. We see the deportation. The next is going to be the jobs and the subsidized programs. Who's going to affect what? The Southern Kingdom. All right. So the next round of protests are fastly approaching. Once these programs be done away with, it's gonna be all hell in the streets, man. Okay, and you don't want to be out amongst all these protests and riots, man. All right, so we're gonna see how this devil plays it out from here on out. Now that he has all the power, albeit temporarily, by the way of the Supreme Court. Okay, so let's go ahead and close out with that and go to 1 Peter 5:8, because we can't tell you how much, we can't tell you enough of how much you have to be aware and alert of these things for when they come, you don't get blindsided. It's 1 Peter 5:8. It reads, be sober, be vigilant. Why? Because your adversary, the devil, see, this devil ain't going to tell you, man. All right? If you don't have the prophets, the servants of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, you ain't going to find out until it's too late. Why? Because you're not seeking Yahweh. You're not out doing what you're supposed to do, measuring the time diligently. You just out having a good time. You just think, I got a job, a secure federal government job. I don't have to worry about not paying my bills, not having enough money. But that's what's going to get you in the long run is your pride, your vain glory is going to take you out, thinking that America is going to last forever. All right, this place has its limits. We're reaching the end of an age or era or eon. All right, and we know, pursuant to 2 Ezra 6:9, Esau, the so-called white man, is the end of the world, this age, and Jacob, the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, is the beginning of it that followeth. All right, so the time is up for this man. All right, and he knows it. That's why he's getting ready to come down with great wrath. Revelation 12:12. See? But see, if you don't have any idea, because you out partying, having a good time, just like the days of Noah, when all hell breaks loose, you're going to be caught off guard, man. You ain't going to know where and when it happens and how it happens and what to do after that. You ain't going to have the names to call on. You ain't going to have this wisdom, this knowledge to be stable in that time. Isaiah 33:6, wisdom and knowledge to be the stability of that times. You ain't going to have any of that. You're going to be at the mercy of this man's wrath, okay? Your faith you don't have. You're going to call on the wrong God. You're going to call on Jesus. You're going to call on God. You're going to call on whoever you believe in. You may even call on your own self, all right? See? And you're going to be stuck in whatever that is that place is that you at, all right? Not knowing when you're going to get back home, see? Us in the faith, we are going to be as pilgrims, all right? As soon as that happens, we ready, man. As it tells us in the scriptures, those that be on the roof, don't go back down into the house. And if you out in the field, don't go back. See, we going to be ready wherever we at. We going to know that, hey, this is it. But see, you that don't have any idea, it's going to catch you off guard. All right, why? 1 Peter 5:8 tells you, be sober, be vigilant. You weren't any of those two that it said. You weren't sober and you weren't vigilant. So what happens? Because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. He's going to devour you, all right? Through your own ignorance. Because why? You didn't choose to seek Yahweh while he may be found, okay? You thought everything would go on forever. You thought you would be able to retire in 5 years, 10 years. You thought you had a nice 401k. Little did you know, all that is at risk of being lost if you don't take that RFID microchip, all right? So that's where we at with it, and this is what's getting ready to come. This cruel Lord, he now has the power to what? Get rid of thousands of federal government jobs, okay? And on top of that, programs as well, subsidized programs. So this is where we at with it, and if you ain't ready, hey, I don't know what else to tell you, all right? better do some real soul searching, man. Get right with the Lord while you still got time. Seek Yahweh while he may be found, all right? Forsake your ways, all right? Let's read that and then we'll close out. Isaiah 55:6. Let seek ye Yahweh while he may be found. Call ye upon him while he is near. See? How do you do that? Let the wicked forsake his way. You got to forsake these ways, man. All right? If you out there sinning willfully, knowing that you're not supposed to be, but yet you still doing it, you ain't seeking him. And the unrighteous man, his thoughts. All right? You got to put away those evil thoughts, man. And let him return unto Yahweh. See, you got to repent and return unto Yahweh. And he will have mercy upon him and to our power, for he will abundantly pardon. See, Trump gonna give you a pardon, but it ain't shit. You want this pardon from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, so that you can be what? Receive mercy and looked upon to receive mercy in that time, because we fastly approaching it, all right? So that concurs the lesson, and that goes hand in hand with 1 Peter 5:8. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. All right, he's getting ready to do it. He has all power, albeit temporarily, but he's gonna get busy. Okay. So with that being said, pray someone was edified through this lesson. And until the next time, if it be the Lord's will, stay strong, stay in the faith. We almost home. Shalom. Peace.